I went from charging $7 haircuts in my tiny little kitchen to making over $40,000 a month 8 months later just by building a personal brand on Instagram. And in today's video, I'm going to reveal the 5 key lessons that I learned along the way that allowed me to make tens and thousands of dollars more by cutting less hair and making a shit ton more to my monthly income while actually spending less time behind the chair so you can do the exact same in the next 30 to 90 days. I'm going to split these 5 lessons into 3 domains. Number 1, brutal mistakes I made early on. Number 2, the non-negotiables that I follow on a daily basis. And number 3, how barbers can stand out in 2026. These are the exact 5 lessons that helped me save my career after my house burned down and allowed me to spoil my mom as a thank you at only 18 years old. And if you scroll just a little bit through my channel, you'll see that I've helped hundreds of other barbers do the exact same thing through these 5 lessons that I'm about to share with you. And keep in mind, these barbers had 0 personal brands, but went on to go from less than $1,000 months to over $12,000 a month, taking over their cities, getting best known and recognized all over the place in less than 60 days. By the way, if you want me to speed up the process for you and turn you into the most profitable barber in your city you can possibly be, click the link below to apply. Now let's get into it. All right, so value 1. One of my biggest mistakes was literally being scared of getting in front of the camera. And we all deal with this at one part of our social media journey. And I want you guys to keep in mind the best content creators in the world once had this fear as well. I'm 99% confident in that. You see the biggest creators in the world, they were once probably scared to get in front of the camera, and they're probably shy, and they probably weren't good if they weren't scared. So at the end of the day, everybody starts somewhere. And this was one of my biggest mistakes I made, was just being scared to get myself in front of the camera and the fear of judgment, fearing what other people would think of me and said about me and all of this type of stuff. But the moment I literally cut the band-aid and ripped the band-aid off and I just started getting out there, yes, the truth is it was uncomfortable, and yes, it was awkward, and yes, it wasn't fun. But the more I did it and the more reps I put into it, the better I got. And that's for anything. For you barbers out there, when you guys first started cutting hair, I'm sure you guys weren't doing the craziest designs and the craziest fades and tapers or whatever it might be. But now you're able to do that. Why? Because you put the reps in. Same thing with that. So number 1, fear of judgment. Another lesson I learned was not to be perfect. Okay. The truth is I tell all of my clients to rather post 7 days of the week at 80% than post 2 times of the week at 120%. And so much of us barbers and content creators, we try to make the best and most perfect content, but volume always wins and volume neglects luck. And at the end of the day, if you put more inputs in, you will see more outputs, especially in the content game. One of the biggest mistakes I made, I want you guys to avoid, is stop trying to be perfect and just get out there. Get out of your comfort zone. Rip the band-aid off early. Don't rip it off slowly. Rip it off early and just go, right? And just push content out. That is the second lesson I learned. Another brutal mistake I made early on into my barbering journey was simply not tracking any data. I wasn't tracking anything in my barbering journey, from content to what clients are coming in, to what clients are going out, what clients are new, what clients are recurring. I wasn't tracking any data, so I had no data to move with and I had no data to double down on. And this led me in the constant loop of the same old results and the same old thing. And the moment I got the proper tracking sheets to track the right stuff inside of my business, simple things like followers, simple things like clients, simple things like what content's working and what content's not. As soon as I got data on that, it gave me clarity on what to focus on and what not to focus on. That was one of my biggest mistakes I made early on, and I wish I changed that early. Don't make the same mistake. The 4th mistake I made, and I know this might sound crazy, but I kept listening to myself. And yes, I know this sounds a little weird, but the moment I stopped listening to myself and I got guidance from the right person that I wanted to scale like, and I quit having an ego and I actually got the right guidance from the right person to actually help me scale my business, is when I actually scaled my business, right? And I want you guys to think about it like this. Right now, you guys might not have a personal brand. You guys might not be fully booked. You might not have the clients. You might not be at 12K a month. And you have to sit there and ask yourself this harsh question that most barbers and most creators and most people can't ask themselves this, but you have to ask yourself, is it even valid to give myself advice, right? And at the end of the day, for me, it wasn't. And for you guys, it's probably not as well if you're not where you want to be, okay? And the reason for this is if you guys keep listening to yourself, you're gonna keep seeing the same results you've been seeing for the past months or past years, past decades, who knows? So the moment, and I wish I stopped this ego so much earlier of trying to figure it out on my own. I played sports growing up and I always had an ego. I always was competing. I always thought I was the man and I could do this and do that on my own. But the truth is, the moment I took a step back and I invested and I learned from someone who was doing better than me, and I genuinely was a student to the game and not trying to be the best, is the moment I grew the most, okay? And still to this day, I invest thousands of dollars into mentors, not only to save me a shit ton of time, but to actually make sure I'm doing the right thing and putting the right inputs in. Because most of us have the work ethic, but we don't actually have the proper guidance. And that's where you guys get in this simple hamster wheel and hamster loop, doing the same thing and keep seeing the same results. And you're just not happy at the end of the day, right? And there's no coincidence why you're still watching this video, is because you're probably in the same shoes that I was once in as well. Value number 2, one of the most, and if not the most important non-negotiable I make every single day, is simply posting a video. No matter what, 80%, 60%, 50% done, I try to post every single day, if not multiple times per day on all platforms. This way, I'm ahead of the game, because your competition is probably posting a bit, probably inconsistent. So even if you're posting the shittiest content, if you just do the numbers and you play the numbers game, you will come out on top just by the inputs. The more inputs you put in, the more outputs you will see. And for me, it's like, if I keep posting, even if it's the worst content, yes, I might not get the craziest result, but imagine if it was good content on top of posting consistently, what that could do for me. And obviously you guys seen what that has done for me, right? So one of the most, and if not the most important non-negotiable for me, was posting every single day. Another non-negotiable I try to stick to, and I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I haven't hit the gym every single day, but the moment I actually started hitting the gym and started getting physical and started doing physical activities and getting myself out there, was really when I started scaling a lot faster, not only for the mental clarity it gives me when I go all out, and after the gym, I feel a lot better about myself, a lot more confidence. It builds the confidence. And on top of that, you just look and feel a lot better as well. And you gotta think and ask yourself, like, what is the best version of you doing right now, right? What is the best version of yourself, and what does he or she act like, and what does he or she do on a daily basis, right? And the answer is probably like, they're probably in shape. At the end of the day, I'm not a fitness coach and I'm not in the craziest shape, but I definitely went from super chubby to somewhat ripped in a matter of these couple months, because I got myself in the gym and I asked myself that tough question: what is the best version of myself doing? Going to the gym, which means I had to start going to the gym. So that's something I try to stick to almost every other day, whether it's just going on a jog, going on a walk, getting active, at least getting in the sun 60 minutes per day, like they say, or hitting the gym, just getting active. Another non-negotiable I follow, whether it's with a coaching client or a mentee that I'm helping scale their barbering business, or it was when I was cutting hair a lot, I would always talk to them and I would always ask questions about their life and how they're doing, and what their goals are and what they're trying to get out of life, whether they were just a client when I was first cutting hair or whether they're a mentee. And at the end of the day, just being there for someone, because most guys, you won't believe it, but as barbers and barber coaches, like, we are therapists at the end of the day, and we are here to help. So almost every single day when I'm in contact with my clients, whether it was my barber clients or if it was like my actual mentees inside of my mentorship, I'm always asking how they're like genuinely doing and what I can do to help them and help serve them. Whether when I was first cutting their hair, I was cutting their hair and giving them the best cut, or just being there for them, or in terms of the mentee, being there for the calls and being there for the showing up, giving them a group call, or having them come out to Miami and meeting me in person, and genuinely like building a real connection. At the end of the day, barbers will probably end up getting replaced by AI, but real life connections will not. And if you really value these relationships and these connections you make with every single client of yours, whether they're awkward, shy, weird, whatever, if you actually build a connection and relationship with them, that's your client forever. Who cares about the fade? Who cares about the haircut? Who cares? Yes, give them a good haircut. Don't give them a bald spot. Same thing with the barber coaches. Don't give them a shitty service. But it's like, most people just want a connection. Most people just want a friend. You know what I mean? So like, you need to really, really, really push for human connection. These are all non-negotiables for a reason. It is impossible, and I have never met someone who has went all in and who has actually done these non-negotiables that hasn't gotten the result that they wanted, right? And I know you guys hear it all the time, consistency is key, but it's no coincidence why you hear that all the time, because it's true. It's coming from the most successful people in the world. I'm sure you've heard say that, because it's true, okay? So at the end of the day, if you are consistent with these non-negotiables like I was, was, you will see results. It is guarantee. It is no matter what guarantee. You have my word. And to be honest, guys, if I ever broke the consistency with these things, whether it was with the gym, which I did, I felt the consequences, not only mentally, but physically. Let's just say I went to the gym, all right, every single day for the month, right? And this has happened. This is a real life experience. And then boom, 2 weeks, no gym, inconsistent, depressed, loser, maybe not depressed, but just like not going to the gym, inconsistent, only doing work inside. I feel like shit. I don't feel fulfilled. I don't feel good mentally, and I don't feel good physically. And when I go back to the gym, I'm starting back at ground one, right? Think of that one image that you guys probably seen. It's like the miner going underground and digging for the gold. And there's one that actually, keeps going and finally sees the gold. And the other miner right under him basically leaves last minute. And it's the same thing. It's the same concept for the gym. It's like you keep going, you keep going, you keep going, you keep putting the right inputs in, you will see a result eventually. But if you stop and you quit, you're going to regret it in the long term. So again, there's a lot of consequences when you don't do these non-negotiables. Value number 3, one of the most important things that a beginner can stand out with their personal brand in 2026 is by finding your unfair advantage. And I've probably said this multiple times, and you probably heard me say this multiple times, but every single one of you guys watching this damn video right now has something to share, has an unfair advantage that you may or may not be aware of. And that's why I actually have a worksheet that I give all of my clients so they get crystal clear on exactly what their unfair advantage is and how they can actually double down on it inside of their content. The moment I found my unfair advantage, which was, let's just say, for example, it was a life unfair advantage, right? House and barbershop burnt down. And for the longest time, I didn't want to share the story, but the moment I shared the story, I got 11.9 million views and over 75,000 followers. That should tell you enough. But on top of that, this worksheet goes over literally everything you need to understand about yourself and your unfair advantage. So if you want it, you guys can DM me unfair advantage either down below or on Instagram at Hoku Arnold, and I'll literally send it to you. And this unfair advantage worksheet has also helped hundreds of my clients go absolutely viral and build the brand that they wanted to eventually monetize and make the money and hit the 5-figure months and do all of that cool stuff. Another lesson on how beginners can actually stand out in 2026 is by doing and speaking well on camera. And this does not come easy, and I haven't seen a single other barber or a single other creator do this really good at a really good rate in the first month of content creation. The truth is, it is super tough. It is super awkward. It is super weird, and you have to just embrace the weirdness. You have to embrace the awkwardness. And the more you do that and the more reps you put in, the better you are going to get. Simple. And I've said this multiple times, but in order to be good at something, you need to do it multiple times. You see the best athletes, the best actors, whatever it might be, they do reps. They put the reps in and they see the output. Same thing with you guys. If you guys want to be the best on camera and want to speak well and go viral and build the brand, obviously to build a personal brand, you need to get on camera and you need to get over that fear and you need to get better at speaking. You're not going to get better just by spectating. You need to get in the game, click record, and freaking record yourself, and you guys will actually see the outputs come along the way. I promise you, it's not a coincidence that I keep saying this. Another lesson is that you need to leverage your time the right way. So much of you guys are editing your content and trying your best to edit your content and posting once a week and super inconsistently, but you need to find a way to actually leverage your time the right way. Simple stuff as simply finding and hiring the right editor for your business. So now you don't have to use all of that time to edit your content, and instead you're putting 99% of your focus into the actual creation part of the content. And I've done this for hundreds of my clients at this point. That has allowed them to not only make a shit ton more money, but has allowed them to cut less and give them a lot more time and financial freedom, and they get to actually create the content, but also spend time with their family. Like my client Ethan just did recently. He's not only, started building his brand even bigger and hit his 10K months with his barbering business, but he also just got engaged, and now he's able to actually enjoy that because he has an editor and his content's on autopilot, and he's able to really use that to his advantage. So much of you guys are not using that to your advantage. Leverage your time. It's one of the most important things you could possibly do. Buy back your time as a barber, transition into a coach. I'm actually able to sit here on a random Wednesday night in Thailand in an Airbnb with a couple of my boys that I met online, and I'm able to just sit here and film and make money online and make a real impact. I was a barber once as well, cutting and trading my time for money. You need to learn how to leverage your time. Whether you are a barber full time or you're a coach, you need to learn how to leverage, right? Same thing for you coaches. You guys shouldn't be DMing people all day. You guys shouldn't have have to post your content anymore. Simple stuff like that you need to leverage. Another lesson on how a beginner can stand out in this saturated 2026 barber market is by simply posting yourself in front of the camera. Don't just show the haircut or the fade or the taper. Show and express your personality on camera. Don't be afraid of it. This is how you'll separate yourself from the rest of the industry that all follow each other and that all post the same content. They all copy each other. The more authentic you are, the more you will stand out in this saturated market. And the more you show yourself on camera and show your face and show your brand is the way you're gonna actually stand out. Think of the biggest industry leaders in the barbering industry. You could say me, you could say Hakeem, you could say Joel. There's not a single time where we hide ourselves from the camera, right? We're always constantly showing ourselves on the camera. And you guys might even think of that one bald guy with the beard, Deluxe, right? You guys know immediately who I'm talking about because he always puts himself on a camera and he has the massive beard and a bald head. He has a pretty memorable face, right? So it's the same thing with you guys. If you guys don't show your face, if he doesn't show his face, if I don't show my face, it's like, what kind of brand are we really building? We're not building a personal brand, obviously, at that point, right? And that's the whole point you guys need to focus on. It's actually getting yourself in front of the camera. Click record, get yourself in front of the camera and embrace the uncomfortness. This has helped so much of my clients like Jonathan go from less than 700 followers to over basically 200,000 followers combined on both platforms. Monetize, start his own product hairline. This has helped me build the brand and now coach over 300 different barbers and be able to host my own masterminds in person in Miami, make these massive impacts, change so many other lives, and also hit over $50, $60, $85,000 months with my coaching business online. If I can do it, and if all of these other guys that I've been able to tell stories about have been able to do the exact same thing, why can't you? So if you guys made it to the end, I really do appreciate you watching it to the end. I know this was a lot of education and a lot of value and a lot of info, but this info isn't anything without implementation. You need to implement and you need to act now. Don't wait, don't scroll, don't go to the next, don't go to that message. Implement and take action now or you wasted this whole time watching this video. And on top of that, if you want to get these results and you actually want to scale your barber business as fast as humanly possible and work with me and my team one-on-one, you guys can simply click the link below to apply so we can actually scale you to these record months and build you that real personal brand so you can eventually monetize and not only get the results that I've been able to get, but better. Why not do better? Why not aim for bigger? I'm not anything crazy. I'm not anything special. I'm just a young 18-year-old hustler. And if I can do it, why can't you? Click the link below to apply. My Instagram is @HokeRonald if you need and have any questions. At the end of the day, if you guys made it this far, thank you so much. I'll see you guys in the next. Peace.